Man United against Fulham, game week 2. Yes, we lost against Arsenal, but again, guys, it was a game of positives. We did actually, for once, try to attack with the football. We actually had Mavericks operating in the attack. Cunha, Mbumo, Dorgu. Mason Mount, not so good. But Mason Mount, Bruno Fernandes, we know that their flaws happen when there are players better than them around them. Because that's when they cannot play technically as well. Yes, the pressing element from both of them, yes, it's pretty amazing. Bruno, with his occasional long passes or with his through balls on the spin, it is useful. But how often do we actually need to transition? Because the more we do succeed in transitions, what happens is teams figure out all we need to now do is just plant a low block. Now, what are you going to do? What is Bruno Fernandes going to do? What is Mason Mount going to do? And that's when we could get found out. Now, which could be this team? This could be Fulham. Do not be surprised, guys, if it's Fulham this weekend. Now, I'm not going to say we're going to lose or draw. I'll tell you my prediction in a bit. But we know that Fulham will do one thing that Arsenal did not do in the first game. And what is that? That is intensely press our midfield, pack the midfield, and win the midfield battle. Because when we look at their midfield, we know there are two players sitting in deep, either behind Pereira or Smith Rowe, whoever starts. It's going to be Lukic and Sanderberg. Two midfielders who have had experience in the Premier League. They're not new to this and they know the pressing game. They've been with Marco Silva already for 2 years at least. And this partnership, it's dangerous, which is pretty much what knocked us out of the cup in the first place last year. If you remember, at Old Trafford, they came with this midfield duo. And we know when they play a midfield duo that presses us, anybody it could be, they're going to press the life out of us. And when you have Casemiro, Corby, Ugarte, in one way or the other, they're not as press resistant as we need them to be. But here we are now with the only midfielders available being Corby with Ugarte, Casemiro, and the list goes on. But none of them are press resistant, which is why we wanted one that was press resistant, i.e. Baliba, i.e. Adam Wharton. But now, are we getting either of them this season? It unfortunately looks like nothing. Now, there are reports that we could be in for a midfielder, but guys, it's teetering on the edge because if we now put a bid, some people are saying, and some journalists are saying rather, that could impact our search for Baliba next summer. Now, I counter that argument with we're not getting Baliba next summer anyway because there will be more competition and the price will go up even higher. So how are we going to compete with him anyway? And with Adam Wharton, now that Eze has got to Arsenal, it doesn't look like Adam Wharton's leaving anytime soon. So, pretty much, we're in a situation where we might not get a midfielder. Because maybe Ineos might think that going for Baliba, going for Adam Wharton next summer is more crucial than going for a stopgap midfielder now and then looking at them next summer. Maybe. And if that is the case, guys, we can write the season off immediately. So this means around September, October. Because yes, the attacking plays are good. I understand that. But the one biggest flaw that was exposed in the Arsenal game was our midfield, our lack of midfield rather. Because when the midfield isn't there, we cannot transition with success. So what we need, what we were doing was the Amorim Bop pass. That's what I was hearing all week. Which was being executed by Lenny Euro, Delict, rather Delict to Euro. And we move it on to the wing back. From Delic to Euro, and then we move it to the wing back, and then the wing back moves it on to Mbumo Cunha. Do you notice in that build-up play who was missing? Well, the goalkeeper was involved when he passed to Delic to Euro, Euro to Dallo, and then we're going down the wing. What happens when people figure out what we're trying to do and they try to block that left-hand side down? Because obviously it's not going to be Dallo every week. It's probably going to be Ahmad on the right wing rather. It's probably going to be Ahmad on the right wing. But what happens when, let's say, another team like Man City figure out, okay, we can't do this, so we're not going to play Ait Nouri against you. What we're going to do instead, we might put a Nathan Ake there, we might put an Omar Marmoush who will run back, and then we put Reinders and Nico Gonzalez who will crowd that right-hand side so that you can't do anything on the right-hand side. And then it becomes a problem, no? Because now, once our right-hand side has been stifled, our left-hand side is being worked on, but we know that our attacks go down either flank either way. And when we're forced to go into the middle, what happens is everything breaks down. Because sure, Delic can handle the ball, Lenny Yoro can handle the ball, the defense is fine. It's when we progress even further into the midfield. Now, picture this. We have Sanderberg, Lukic, and any of Pereira or Smith Rowe. Let's say Pereira. We know that these three are going to run. They're going to be dogs throughout the game. And when they are pressing us with three men in midfield and we are leaving one sole Casemiro, because we know Bruno what he's going to do. He's going to pick up the ball, try to move it in transition, and if not transition, one thing we saw in build up many times against Arsenal. In fact, look at the goal against Arsenal, that is. It's always Bruno either rushing something or making a mistake too early, and that penalizes us. So there was one position where there was one instance in the game where Casemiro, Dalot, they were all dropping back into defensive position. That's when Bruno moves forward trying to press all alone. And when Bruno tries to push and press alone, what happens is there's a vacant gap in midfield. And when there's that vacant gap in midfield, I think it was Zubimendi or Rice passing the ball through into Martinelli, and now there's a big space which they can now exploit. Now you're thinking, what else could he have done? Well, one thing is, look at the team around you. Do not just press for the pressing sake. And this is a problem we've had before in the past with Bruno specifically, where I get it. You want to fight for the team. You want to show up because you're the captain. I get that. But look at the other players around you, and when there's tactics being told, no matter how bad you think the tactics are, when defensive positions are being planned, it's not something you can really coach, right? It happens in game. Look around you, you see Casemiro dropping back, you see Dalot dropping back. Then instead of creating a vacant hole in midfield when they need you there in defensive position, it's kind of like playing a dumb offside trap. When everyone else is dropping the line and then suddenly one player just dashes out trying to do the offside rule. But then the thing is everybody else is dropping back. So now you've just created vacant space for somebody to go through. And the same thing, guys, if you watch the goal back that we conceded against Arsenal, the corner that they get results from Bruno rushing the ball, or rather, not moving it quick enough. If anything, Bruno was just dilly-dallying with the ball in the box, and he loses the ball, and then in the overturn, they get a corner, and then, the rest is history. Calafiori scores. But nobody's going to pick up on that because everybody's going to say, oh, Bayender. Yes, Bayender was at fault. But look at who caused the corner in the first place. It's Bruno Fernandes. Which is why, you know what? He has his attributes. He scores goals, clutch goals. And he can give the right passes at times. But if you're going to consider every single thing about Bruno Fernandes, we can't have him involved in build-up. If that makes any sense. He's better as a striker than a pivot player, even if he's all about energy and passing. So, end of the day, what we learned from the Arsenal game is that if we play the same way against Fulham, we are going to get crucified. So, one thing we do need in this game is technical ability, because if we go for man runners, let's say Ugarte, let's say Bruno Fernandes, let's say you name it really. That's about all we have. If we do play actually Ugarte and Bruno Fernandes against Lukic and if we do play Ugarte and Bruno Fernandes against Lukic and Sanderberg, we will get crucified. Why is that? Because look at their midfield. Look at our midfield. They're going to press us. Let's say we do overturn because they're runners. Are we going to keep the ball? Do you believe, honestly, that we are going to overturn the ball? No chance. Because if you look at Ugarte, the second the guy gets the ball, he was the biggest liability in that game. If I was to name one big, huge red flag negative from the Arsenal game, it was Manuel Ugarte. Because when he came on, he had one of the worst cameos I've ever seen from any player in a United shirt. Kept giving the ball back into danger positions, and the guy is not aware. It's like he knows how to be a dog, but the second he gets the bone, he doesn't know what to do with it. That is literally Manuel Ugarte. Tell me if I'm wrong. And his passing range is awful. And you partner him up with Bruno Fernandes, who's just reckless as I don't even know. Partner him up with Bruno Fernandes, and guys, we are not seeing the ball at all in this game. This is why you'd rather play Kobe and Casemiro. But then again comes the point, who's going to press? So which is why despite the flaws, despite it's going to be a physical game, it's going to be dumb. Some of you might say it's dumb. I would still play Kobe and Casemiro. Because yes, we lose the running. Yes, we lose the midfield yes, we lose the running and the physicality, as people say. But I would rather keep the ball than not. So in midfield, I'd rather play Kobe and Casemiro and try to get the ball into Cunha and Mbomo, Sesko. Because once they get the ball, they can progress. They can really cause trouble. And especially with Cunha, especially with Mbomo. Because the compilations that I've seen in the last 2-3 days about Cunha and Mbomo from Arsenal, it shows me that we have recruited the right players. It shows me that this is not just a wild buy, that yeah, everybody was behind it, but it's not like past buys where it wasn't built for a system or an intention. Because we clearly know Mbomo and Cunha can run, they can press, and they have a good touch, and they can progress the ball with intention, and they know what they're trying to do at the end of the day. And the argument we normally had previously when new players came in was, well, can they really do it for us? Maybe they'll just fall back to old habits. But now you look at the players that are coming in, this is 4 or 5 players with the same mentality and the same intention. Our front line has been completely changed. So you can't say Rashford, Garnacho, Højlund, Bruno Fernandes, whoever it is going to affect them in the attack, because all 3 are new. All 3 come with the same philosophies from their clubs. And so it's more likely than not that they're going to have the same philosophy. And now you look even behind them. Ahmad is literally a carbon copy of their same profile. And Patrick Dogo on the left, very similar as well. He's another player, by the way, guys. He did really impress me against Arsenal. Like, I did not expect him after the season he had last season. I did not expect him to show me improvements in preseason, and then now against Arsenal, this guy was a totally different player. This wasn't the player I saw last season, which is one thing I will give him. Like, I did not really expect this at all. But if Dogu can keep going on, we have left side, right side pretty much in the bank. What are we missing? Everybody knows. I don't even need to tell you this. It's the midfield. It's goalkeeper. Now we're going to see Onana again. So it's going to be mistakes, right? This season is going to be, we're going to be trouncing some teams. We're going to smack some teams 4-5-0 for sure. But we're also going to lose 3-4-0 against the wrong teams. We might just do so. Yes, historically we do well against Fulham. We win at their place. At Craven Cottage, I saw a record that we haven't lost since 2009. Which, considering the very, very bad teams that we've come up with at Craven Cottage, I don't know how we haven't lost. But that's a stat. And we haven't lost to Fulham at Craven Cottage since 2009. Do I see this continuing? So, that's my prediction then. So, I think, despite how pre-seasons looked, how we looked against Arsenal, I think we will have just enough to win this game. But I think this is going to be a 3-2 game or something odd like that, where we have to, again, just like previous years, we have to wait till pretty much the last minute to get a winner. And there's a good chance, if it doesn't go this way, Fulham beat us 2-3-0. Because it's one of those games, just like I would compare this to what happened against Everton last season, where we were 2-0 down and we should have been 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-0 down. But then we got 2 goals at the end, which we scammed kind of. But at the end of the day, it's all about just getting the goals, getting the points. Early on in the season, especially before the international break, we just need those goals, we need those points. Are we going to get them? I think we do. I think we win 3-2 and we beat Fulham at Craven Cottage. So what do you all think? Comment down below. What's your thoughts about United? What's going on? What are we going to do in the last, 11 or 10 days in the transfer window? Comment that all down below and I'll see you all in the next one.